Good afternoon. This is Dr. Cecily, and I want to welcome you to my channel, and it's called Transformational Leadership. Now, this is a series of what I'm dealing with and what I'm focusing on is not just defunding the police. It goes deeper than that. And if you looked at my other video before this, you will see some of the things I brought up that in terms of what would be viable solutions for leadership. And I want to address the criminal justice system. It goes past the policing and the sergeants and lieutenants and the unions. It goes to the court system, the DA, the district attorneys, the attorneys, and also probation and parole. Now, we know that this system has been designed for the benefit of white privilege. We get that. We also understand that although we went through slavery and sharecropping, my black brothers and sisters and my forefathers have went through slavery, we understand that we're still under an oppressive system that wants to kill us openly and get away with it. So, with that being said, let me explain what the transformational leadership model looks like. It has 5 behaviors: idealized influence, idealized behaviors, intellectual stimulation, inspiration, motivation, and individual consideration. Now, with the first 2, I talked in my last video about a vision, because the Bible said, without a vision, the people perish. And I was looking at the channel, and I was looking at what the Democrats and the Republicans were talking about. The Democrats were talking about, let's get rid of the immunity. Of course, we need to do that. We need to get away from the immunity because it gives them a sanction, and that means the crooked police officers, because many of the officers are not bad. We just got a system that will drag out the system, will drag out the case, the years and years, the person to be in the grave for years, and the system rewards these officers. And because we're black, poor, brown, yellow, and minorities, they often overlook us, especially blacks. So I want to get at this because since I'm asking for transparency, this is what I've done. I believe that this platform was given to me. If you don't like my channel, it's okay. There's other people that have other voices. But I really believe that God has given me experience and also education. And any black person can speak on this. And let me just say this. There was a black young girl. She was about 5 or 6. And she was sitting in the chair. It was on YouTube. And the father was in another chair looking down at her. The black girl had tears in her eyes. And the caption says, "Daddy or Father, they hate me because of the color of my skin." And I can relate to that as a little girl. I remember when Dr. Martin Luther King was assassinated. I remember when President Kennedy was assassinated. I remember those times of like, Lord, they hate me for the color of my skin. And it felt so oppressive as a child. So I just want to say to all the Ku Klux Klan mothers, all you entitled white mothers, do you have any sympathy? Do you have any anything, a mothering, nurturing to realize that this is impacting black children everywhere? They know that they're hated because of the color of their skin. And we pass this on to the next generation. But the thing is that you have made a system, educational, health, care, every system, welfare, to entrap us to continue to profit off of us. You profit off of us for 300 years for slavery. You profit off of us doing sharecropping, and you profit off of us now through not only the injustices of locking us up, but shooting and killing and murdering our unarmed men and women. So with that being said, since we still know that these systems cannot have a Band-Aid, because this is 400 years of a system that you created. And what I meaning to you is those who got the power and money to make the changes. Yes, we can have a voice, but we need quick changes. And we need transformational leaders that's going to be standing up, and they're going to be ethical and moral. And this is what this model is about. Those 5 behaviors talk about not only arising out of taking your behavior to the next letter, level as being as ethical and moral leaders, but also bringing the people under you. So that's what we need. So I'm going to be addressing those three areas: the criminal justice system in terms of policing, the court system, and also the probation and parole. Now, since I'm asking for transparency, because they did do a study, and let me get to this. It was called investigative report. I'm gonna try to find it, but this is the thing. It was called the Justice Court, Department of Justice, did a investigation on the Ferguson Police Department. I have to get this for you because it was very, very powerful, because it talked about because this is just more of just a training. Like I said in my last video, we don't need any more training as far as officers. And the reason why I said that, because I worked 10 years as an officer and a sergeant at the Wayne County Jail in Detroit, Michigan. Officer and a sergeant. So let me say this. So that being said, I just received my PhD, Doctor in Philosophy, in the correlation of transformational leaders, greening behaviors, and how they impact employees' behavior. But I use the transformational model, those 5 behaviors. And what I'm using is vision. I'm starting with vision. Now, I suggested in my other video, I suggested some viable solutions that White House, the courts, Supreme Court, and all the policymakers can make. First of all, we do need to get away from, we don't need to give them any more training. We don't need no more training. Let that funding. Now, when I went to understand defunding the police, it meant to take and allocate those funds to other places. I think allocating them to mental health is very important, because when I dealt with inmates, we always had an officer that transported that inmate. Or if somebody came in, sometimes sheriffs go in there, will go and pick up a person, maybe berate, but they know that they're in the mental health system, so they have to go along with the parent, or the loved one, to take them to the hospital, Detroit Receiving, to make sure that this person doesn't harm themselves or other people. So we do need that. So take the training from the police department and take some of that money and put it on for mental illness, and also for homeless people. And also, I spent about 12 years at the Wayne County Sheriff's Department. I was an officer and I retired as a sergeant. So I'm being transparent. And what I'm saying, anybody, like that little black girl, she can say, hey, any black person can speak about being black in America. Everybody has a voice. And I'm glad there's not one central person, but there are many people speaking up. And I thank God for the people, my white young brothers and sisters that's standing up, because enough is enough. We need to come after this few rich status quo. You're greasing your pockets, and then you're putting the weight of the fines and stuff on the people. You're excessively taxing them. Now, what my viable solutions was: no more training, no more additional training than what you already have and what's required. So don't reward them with more training. All they're going to go is because when I went in training, I went to different places. I went to Midland Resort. I went to some kind of resort up north, and we got everything paid for. Food gets paid for. You get reimbursed for mileage. You get your shelter just for training. Then on top of that, don't forget that if you a probation officer or any kind of officer, parole officer, sergeant, you Wayne County sheriff, or you a police, you will get loan forgiveness. See, people don't tell you that too. And then so they're like, we don't get enough money. Well, they get loan forgiveness if they go to school. And then plus, I know here in Atlanta, If you be a courtesy officer, they will either give you free rent or give you a discount on your rent. Or if you would go and reside in a poor area or a place where that the economics is not real good, you will get money for that too. You'll get incentives for mortgages. So don't just say, oh, they don't get paid no money. Okay, now the Democrats did hit on something good. Stop having them having immunity. In other words, you can't sue an officer. No, let's change that. Also, I talked about Carol's law. I think it's pronounced right, but it's Cairol. Her last name is Horn. She got fired 9 years ago. No, it's been a while ago, about 8 years ago, something like that. But she had 19 years on the job because she personally took her hand to stop a white police officer from choking I believe the person was an unarmed black man again. Does it sound familiar? You keep wanting murdering us. You keep wanting murdering our black people. See, this is an institutional racism, and it's embedded not only in the police department, but it comes from the municipalities. You're generating this for-profit revenue to get money, and you're getting it off of blacks, number one. And not only that, you're killing us. You're killing us, wrongfully incarcerating us. Look at Georgia Innocent Project. This guy just got let out for allegedly raping a white woman. Didn't rape a white woman. Come to find out he was innocent. The DNA did not match, but he spent 37 years and his sentence was 80 years with no parole. And here you got officers killing people, murdering people. And they're doing it. And you know what? Because they know they're backed up by the system. And I'm not saying get rid of unions, but attorneys and stuff, I'm just saying be ethical about what you do. And they can't be above the law no more. We're not going for that. We're not asking for freedom. We are already free. So let's add on the Carol's law. So now I pray that she get her money back. I pray that she had put 19 years in. And because she intervened to save a person's life, because he was black and the officer was white, she got fired. And to this day, she don't have a job back. But they need to give her back pay and her retirement. All right. Now, number 4, my other viable solution, because I'm talking about sustainable solution. In order for America to be great, they got to recognize their sins. Got to recognize your sins. And then you want to keep murdering us with your system. And you want to call it justice. No, it's a just lie. It's not justice. It's not laws. It's lies. Because you put people in the system for profit. It's for revenue. So you know what we should do? Since the Jubilee 50, just say, and I'm getting to the traffic tickets too. Just erase everything. Jubilee 50 in the Bible, as you go to Leviticus, stated that every 50th year be a year of Jubilee. And I've been talking about the year of Jubilee since I was over the women's prayer group in 1998. Believing that everybody's in debt to get out of debt. Everybody everybody that's a slave will be out of slavery. See, but then you're still keeping us in slavery. You're still keeping us in slavery by going through this. See, it's not cotton anymore. And we're not taking care of your babies anymore. I'm just sharecropping and cleaning your houses anymore. But now you're doing it under your justice system, which is immorally, unethical, and it's evil what you're doing. Because the Bible said don't oppress the minorities, the poor, and the elderly. All right? So I gave you some viable solutions. Here's the other one. Here's the other thing. I thought about it too. And I got a couple issues. I want to get to the traffic, and I want to get to this thing about white-collar crime. Because a lot of times, you see stuff in the status quo, and you first see it, and you're like, everybody else seems like it's okay. Okay, so when I worked at the county jail, a lot of people don't realize. I noticed one time was right there on the Andrew Baird Detention Facility. You can look it up. It's right down there, downtown, next to Detroit Police Department, Recorder's Quarters, across the hall. But listen, as an officer and a sergeant, I was kind of amazed when I seen people who had traffic tickets that were locked up, Now, you have to realize, when they come through registry, male registry, female registry, if they don't have that bond, they're going to have to bend over, bend over, and call. So we make sure they don't have no weapons, all right? And their body on their body parts. So you can private parts. So you can see how demoralizing this is. It's enough that you get stopped for a traffic ticket and then they accuse you for stuff. So remember, a lot of our people look at Georgia Innocence Project. That guy just got out for 37 years. I explained to you. For what? So, and then Supreme Court might not get to you or not. So I want to know why the population is growing, but the cases are not. We supposed to be America the Great. How come we can see from the space, we can see the soldiers? This doctor on YouTube says, because he talks about the COVID-19 and everything, he said they let the soldiers walk 6 feet apart so they can see you from space. So and then you're spending trillions of dollars. Wait a minute, trillions of dollars. Air Force One and everything, right? Guess who it's coming from? The very people you're oppressing. Because middle class people, you see when the federal state government shut everything down, how can you set something down and you don't feed the people? So now we're in depression. Remember the last time? Look and find out the last time. It was the last crash. I'm talking the big crash in the 30s. When we had the depression. We are in a depression. You know why? Look at the lines. We're just not looking war and rag it out like them people did. Because a lot of them were immigrants and they were slaves like us. They were servants. But they were long lines for food. Doesn't sound similar? Doesn't sound terribly just like the same. We're in depression. And it's about to get worse. And you telling me, now they found 2 people dead in California. One hung himself. No, they said he hung himself. Now, who gonna go hang themselves? He was black. Hang himself at the city hall. The tree in front of City Hall. What that sound like? Then the other one found not too long ago. So wait a minute. I'm not advocating violence. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Because first of all, I'm black, but I'm a Christian. And God said, don't repay evil for evil. He said, repay good for evil. And see, the fear that you got is you. And I mean by you, I mean you that's over these laws. I mean you that close down these. Look, it's not because somebody can just go to another town or go to another state or either go to another country. Everything was locked down. So you locked everything down. And then on another discussion, weeks later, you're going to talk about getting some people some money. Are you serious right now? But you America the Great. You ain't never been great. But let me tell you though, America, if you want to be great, let's start now. But we got to dig to the root of it. So let's get to these laws. So when I was in Wayne County Jail, I was wondering, why is these people coming in with suits on? They were people who didn't pay their child support. They didn't pay their child support. And then also they were, excuse me, because I get hot quick. They didn't pay their child support. And what was the other thing? And they were in there for traffic tickets. Now listen, in the reception, the registry, male and female. Remember, if you don't have your money bound out, you get processed just like the other inmates. Now I understand jails are supposed to be for people who are not what they are not considered guilty and to proven innocent. But do you realize when those other prisons and the localities and in the vicinities bring down their prisoners so they can go to court, because if the case was in Detroit, they have to go to recorder's court, so they had to come to the jail. So when they're coming in, the incoming screening inmates, if you're in there for traffic fine, they don't separate you. Usually you all in one thing. Only reason they separate you is like Derek Chauvin. They'll separate you because you're a high profile case. And even in that, they had 8 officers clean up the dung and the urine. You know why? It was the 5th floor. And I talked to a military friend of mine, and he told me that that in the military, if 5th floor, even in some of the, I guess the Veterans Hospital, and so it's for the mental ward. So I know when they say clean up feces and urine, that they're on the mental health floor. But that doesn't mean that he's there because of mental illness. So get me correct. I'm not saying that. He's probably on that floor because that's a 24-hour watch. You got to really be on it. Whereas before, with the other regular populations, you can go like every 15 or every 30 minutes. Now getting back to this, excuse me. The issue is to not only are you get locked up, but you get locked up with them prisoners from until you go through classification. So you got to come through the registry and sit in the same holding cells with other murderers. And I'm talking about ones that we know that got the DNA on the camera, okay? And then you got to go to RDC, which is the Reception Diagnostic Center. That's what it was called then. I don't know what it's called now. And then you got to they got to get your social, they got to get your mental, your history, and everything. And guess what? You in there with all kind of criminals. So I'm telling you, why is traffic court? Why are people coming in, and why is the traffic system punitive? You know why? Because it's for revenue. The other programs are counting on the jails to make revenue for them. That's all. It's a for-profit system. So let me help you out with this criminal justice system. Now, another thing, did you notice this? We got so much white privilege. Now white privilege also means why do you have a white collar crime? And in white collar crime, you can do bank fraud, consumer fraud, insurance fraud, medical fraud, securities fraud. You can do tax fraud, environmental fraud, false claim and statutes, and we go on and on. Illegal taking of money of government officials, giving or taking. So why is it that you have white collar crime and these are billions of dollars y'all stealing, like Wells Fargo? And then they get to have their retirement and then plus perks. And then the consumers get what? Because you know who's going to really get the brunt of it. The money taken. It's going to be the blacks, the brown, the yellow, the poor, the minorities. Do you see what's going on? So, with that being said, why is the traffic court, which is a civil, I'm talking about civil, I'm not talking about the lies you tack on, like you did Messiah and Tanaya down here in Atlanta, and said, oh, they had a gun and they tried to hit the officer. Are you for real? Like that, and the man in there tasing. Okay, but you know why? Because you're in a system that protects you. So why don't we just stop having a white collar crime? Stop calling this white collar crime. So they mean because you rich, then you get special treatment again. Get rid of white collar crime. That's my second thing. First of all, get rid of traffic tickets and get rid of white collar crime. Because I'm gonna go deeper in the white collar. I'm gonna go deeper into the white into not the white collar crime. I'm gonna go deeper into the traffic tickets. See how bad that is. Now, since you America are so we're this COVID-19. We driven by the data. Well, let me help you with something. Go take this report right here. Take this report and it's called Investigation of the Ferguson. I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to turn it sideways. Investigation of the Ferguson Police Department. Because my light can't see it. And it's by the United States Department of Justice, Civil Rights, okay? This right here. I don't know if you can see it. No, you can't see it. But it's called United States Department of Justice, Civil Rights Division, March 4th, 2015. Now, I got to think about them traffic tickets. So why is, now tell me this. See how messed up this is? And you're still trying to make money off us. You made money off us cotton in the cotton and slavery. You made money off us taking care of your babies and taking care of your house. Now you're still making us money off this criminal justice system, which is a just lie, okay? Don't even call it criminal justice, because it's a criminal just for the rich people. So I'm going to tell you what they did. Now, when we have transparency, and I'm not saying all officers are bad, because I stood up for what was right. I did moral decisions. I told them if they wanted to beat up on inmates, and it's a culture, see? It's a culture. And they feel, and this is what I want to make, because there's officers on YouTube and they're saying the same thing. It's a culture. And they think not only that it's them against the citizens, it's us, the police officers, against them, the citizens. They also feel that the police officers against the blacks, the police officers against the poor, the police officers against the minorities, and the police officers against the brass. Because they don't want to tell the brass anything. And then the brass knows. The brass knows. You better know your 4th Amendment and your 8th Amendment. But I had this. This was really good. I wish I had it up. I'm going to try to get it. But the thing is, let's go back to this. Let's go back to this debtor president. Did you hear about that? But I want to mention this Ferguson report too. This officer wanted to stop somebody, but did not have reasonable cause, a probable cause to stop the civilian, which was black. And he called and spoke to a judge, it's in here, or somebody, and he tried to get a warrant, but they said they couldn't give it to him. He said, that's okay, I'll go and use this system called the warrant. So the warrant is like a system the officers go in and get your name put in. But let me tell you what that does. There was this debtor prisons is the prison, because I'm like, I came out in Atlanta and this lady told me she was, what did she say? She said she was had to go probation officer. So me knowing, I said, okay, well, what crime did you commit? She said, well, no, I didn't commit no crime. I just couldn't pay my traffic court fines because I got laid off. And so when I got behind, they put me on probation and gave me excessive fees and fines. I'm like, what? So why are you locking people up? That's already poor. And now, look, one white lady was so sad, she was in the trailer. And this, I want to get back to this wanted thing. This wanted system. They can go in and put your name in. It's called wanted. So they can circumvent getting a warrant to search your car. All right? And they can go in this system. Isn't the Ferguson report? Investigative Ferguson report, which every police department should have one. Now, let me get back to her. I was wondering why she had to go to a probation. I took her. Well, listen, I found out there was 15 states that had them. Now, what's happening is the counties and the police departments and the sheriff's departments, they allocate their probation off to private companies. And guess what? Most of the private companies are ran by marshals, FBIs, former sergeants and sheriffs. So really what they're keeping the money is a money maker. So it's important that the officer, and go on YouTube, the officers will tell you they're pressured to get their quota. It's about revenue for the municipalities. In fact, in the Ferguson investigative report in 2015, they said that they were told to get a certain number of tickets and arrest and make a certain number of stops, okay, and generate enough tickets for the revenue. Now, so I gave you two compelling visions. Stop locking these people up with traffic tickets into the regular jail system. And stop giving them jail sentences. And because once they get in that system, it's like you get trapped. Because now when you go by, the police they're gonna look out for you. So you better have a light out or anything, because they're gonna be looking out for you. Okay, because you're in the system now. Now, I found out there were 15 states that had this debtor's prison that was outlawed, supposed to have been against the U.S. Supreme Constitution, right? But Elizabeth, I think her name is Elizabeth Henderson. She's a professor of University of South Carolina, and she said what it is for revenue. It's to get revenue. So here's this lady in this trailer, and because this is one of the stories of debtor's prison. She's in this trailer. She had a DUI. She didn't say that she denied she didn't have it. She said that she paid the fine. She had to serve some time in jail. She got out. 2 years later, they came and arrested her again. And guess what? Then she had to go back to jail, and they gave her some more fines. But guess what? She said the guy said she was wanted. So whoever kept her in that, whatever that system is, they need to get rid of that. So first of all, like I said, declare year of Jubilee 50. Because America, you owe it to the black people, you owe it to the poor, and you owe it to the minorities. Because God said, do not oppress the poor. And that's what you're doing. And middle people, you're paying for all this. Not only that, you're going to pay for the 8 officers that got dismissed from their duty and supposed to be, they were supposed to be watching over and supervising Derek Chauvin, the one that murdered George Floyd. Guess what? That means taxpayers, middle class, you don't pay for that because he can't be transported with the regular population. He cannot be housed with the regular population. So that means he has to be watched. He has to be watched like a regular inmate, a mental illness inmate. Well, in other words, he has to be watched around the clock because he's high profile. So you paying extra for that, middle class. right? Along with the black people and the poor people and the brown people, the yellow people and the minorities, right? Because this system is not for us. And it's not a fair system. This system is rigged and always been rigged. And the fact that I keep on seeing officers killed, and in spite of the world looking, that's what I love to realize, that is so tainted, you're so corrupt that you're willing to let everybody see your, because they already know what you're about. But now the whole world's looking out at the same time and seeing how corrupt you are. And the young white people, they're tired of it. They're tired of it. But the fact is that I tried to go down to my roots to the, I'm going to get back to debtor's prison. I tried to go down to my roots because I want to get to that white collar crime. Because why y'all got a particular crime? Why y'all so privileged? Y'all got a white collar crime. And guess what? It's for the rich people again. No, put them in a regular state prison like everybody else. Because first of all, if they'll still have their retirement. They'll go to prison and still have their retirement. Take their benefits in their whatever they call their perks and their extra packages, and you give it to the people he stole it from, or they stole it from, or she, or whoever. Okay, because all those things, that's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of stuff. Bank fraud, consumer fraud, all that fraud, and y'all making millions of dollars, and then the consumer, middle class, because y'all think y'all middle class, y'all think, and some people are losing their businesses. One white lady lost 3,000 people. Employees, okay? So y'all thought y'all were immune. Don't pay that mortgage. Don't see that bank gonna take your money, middle class or not. And then they don't have, and then your government that you and these leaders you voted for, you better be watching. Watch where the money going. Watch where the money going. Even with the traffics, why are people with civil transgressions or whatever you want to call it? Why are you being punitive with them and locking them up? And 15 states had it. And guess who first started it? Atlanta, Georgia. Oh, I wonder y'all ain't got no potholes. Because I was wondering why you ain't got no potholes. Yeah, because y'all rich. One of the cops look like Call of Duty. and the police. And don't get me wrong. I am for peace. I am for peace, but I'm for righteousness. And I've seen how God has tested me through the times as an officer. When I could have turned my head, or I told him, don't you beat up no inmate in front of me. Don't beat up no inmate in front of me. If the inmate telling you they getting beat up, y'all better listen, leaders. Y'all better listen, sheriffs and whatever, bailiffs or whatever. Y'all better listen. So, 15, and it's supposed to be debtor's prison, it's supposed to be illegal. So you're going to put people in jail that don't have no money. And this one lady, she paid her fine. And she still had to go back. Just explain that. Oh, so let me just recap. Okay, let me just recap for you. Transformational leaders, you must have a vision. We have to overhaul. Just don't look at the police. That's the fruit of the tree. The bottom, you still got the courts, you still got Supreme Court, you got the DA office, you got these attorneys, you got these unions, you got these private probation. And I ain't even got on excuse me. That's my bad. That's okay. I haven't even gotten to the fact about these private correctional institutions, okay? So, with that being said, the other two visions you can have as a compelling vision is not only stop housing people together. In fact, stop even taking them to prison. Have them do community work. Stop having people with traffic fines and tickets incarcerated. Because all you're doing is starting it all over again. You're putting them in the system. They can't get a job. They lose their job. They can't get housing. They happen to have a record. Oh, you've been institutionalized? They're going to automatically think you're a criminal. They don't think that your tail light was busted out, or maybe the police officer lied on you. So we need to change our system, guys. So come on, let's get to making America great. This is trajectory right now. We had a trajectory to change the face of America, to make America great. And the only way you can make America great is to get to treat all people, all humans fairly and justice and with ethics and morals. Because like Biden said, that's running for president, he said we live in a soulless nation. God is coming after our sins. This is about. He's exposing it. And a lot of people already knew, but you kept it hidden. You kept our history hidden. You keep putting off. You want us dead, but it's too late now. Now you're the minority. And what you're trying to do is, in psychology, it's called projection. We're not the animal. And I'm just talking about the people that's upholding this white privilege, that's upholding this that the laws only apply to us and not to you. I'm talking about them. I'm talking about you. If it's you, let the shoe fit. But I'm telling you, our justice system, everybody is on display right now. Supreme Court, you need to get them cases through there faster. Why is some man got to stay in the prison for 37 years for a crime he didn't commit? Because he's black, brown, yellow, poor. So I'm telling you, this is a time, okay? And get rid of that white collar crime. Forget that. You mean tell me? So you got the rich protected. The rich got their own. They got their own laws, so they can still be rich when they get out of prison. Let a person write a bad check and go to the state prison, and they black. So they was president of something. They ain't gonna president of nothing. So no, let's take away the white collar crime. All right, no more federal prison. Let's put you in prison. Put you in the state prison, just like we did Derek Chauvin. Let him be accountable for his crimes. Let there be no more accessory. I already went down like 4, maybe 7 of them. These 2 visions, compelling vision. No more punitive incarceration or imprisonment for people who cannot pay debt. Come on, y'all. Get rid of white collar crime. Come on now. And then get rid of these unethical leaders that are against and above the law, that only for the rich is for making profit. Let's get rid of those. Let's get rid of those programs. Let's make those unconstitutional. Supreme Court, come on now. You got to get the moving. All right then. This is Dr. Cecily. Hope you enjoy my channel. Push like if you like the channel. If you want to make comments on what you would like me to speak on, I will do that too. God bless. And please take care.